Vali, good morning.
Good morning, Emmanuel. How are you?
Good, man. So we finally wrapped up the filming and the content that we worked on for the tactical flashlight, um, the civilian version. So this is for everybody can benefit from it. And, we were talking a little bit and I figured, let's get this on a podcast so we can share it with everybody. I hope everybody has watched the tactical flashlight video and enjoyed the content that Vali has shared with us, and that I've kind of just added on a little bit of value with it. And we just wanted to tell everybody, hey, thank you, and maybe give you some of our personal insight with how we feel about tactical flashlights and its role that it plays in our lives right now, because it is definitely a professional tool, and that's a whole other separate category that we're going to be working with. But on a personal level, I find it very practical, and I carry my flashlight all the time. Now I have about 4 different types of flashlights. I don't know about you, Vali, you probably have about a dozen. And I use them from all kinds of stuff. Like when I go walking my dog at night, I always carry my flashlight, and it's not so much for bad things, but maybe raccoons or skunks or different, it could obviously be to light up the dark if I ever need to see. I have another flashlight I use when I go cycling, especially if I'm going early morning or a little bit towards the evening. I want to make sure that I'm visible at certain times and light up some parts of the road that I can't see well. And I have one that I carry with me as a utility backup in almost all situations. So I have 3, and I love them all. They are definitely a wonderful tool and weapon. They're great to have, right?
Right.
Says a lot about you. But maybe I'll ask you, Vali. How about you? What do you
I really like them during Zoom meetings.
They're great for our friends. See, we didn't talk about
right?
that in the video.
Yeah.
They're great to blind your friends.
Yeah, for sure. No, they're as you said. We have gone over this, and I remember a few years back I was with a buddy of mine, really handy guy, and he always had 2 knives on him. And it always looks kind of clunky on your side. You got 2 straight edges, but we started talking knives, and I was like, oh, this one, and it's like, look, I use one for all utility stuff, so the rust on the battery, on the car battery, corroded, whatever else, and the other one is for his cheese and wine kind of setup, right? And flashlights are a bit the same when you get into it, and just 6 months of the year is dark enough that I don't see how people go, and especially if you're living in rural Canada, it's one of those things that flashlight becomes it's always there. It's on you, right? Morning, night. And as I said in the video, that's why we want something comfortable, something that you can carry, something that's not in the way. And then ideally, it's got the settings so you can use it just to, look at something on a piece of paper without blinding yourself, or for when, you're then dealing with a bear in your driveway or whatever, if you're in an urban environment for your own personal protection.
Yeah.
The one thing that, and I'm big on that, I never refer to them as weapons because of the court element, and that's the beauty of these flashlights, right? That's the beauty of these weapons, in fact, is that they are, when you end up in court, they are just a simple tool, right? And this is the kind of the cherry on top, right? We know, again, depending on where you have gotten and where you live, you have different jurisdictions and different rules that apply, but we live in a pretty safe and controlled world in Canada, and use of force and application of force and self-defense laws is pretty strict, and there is a monopoly of violence that's strictly kept for law enforcement and military. Civilian population should never, God forbid, use self-defense. Just call 911 and sit back and wait, right? But we know it doesn't work like that. And
you got 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes to cover. It's a long time.
Some make it 20 in some places, and in some places now, with the resources being so really stretched, they just don't show up. Depending on what
I agree. Yeah, it's not a judgment against police. It's just they're stretched.
No. They're just stretched out to the maximum. And really, if we can prevent on our own, without having to call and without making a scene, without ending up in jail, without hurting people, without getting hurt ourselves, why not? If it's
Why
just a
not?
click away, if it's a click away, it's going to, send a message to whoever is following you, coming towards you, whatever, that, no, maybe better not. And then, it just resolve the whole resources issues that's going on, and the resources aren't there. So, what is it? An ounce of prevention. What's the saying? An
Goes,
ounce of
yeah,
prevention.
ounce of prevention. No, that's it. An ounce of
Yeah, an
prevention.
ounce of prevention, right?
It goes a long way.
It goes
I
a
just
long way.
find, I just find for me, Valley, like I carry it and I use it 99% of the time. It's so practical. I use it so often nowadays that, like I said, where I'm running or cycling or walking my dog. And I remember when we were talking about this topic, I started how many dog walkers I watch at night. A lot of people walk their dogs at no flashlight whatsoever. And I thought that was really, even in a city setting, there's a lot of dark hidden alleys, little cloves where, bad people or bad things are going on. And to be able to light it up means that you don't have to go close to see it. You can stay from far away. When I was on my bike, when I was running, I would warn people that didn't see me, because a lot of drivers are distracted. And this, not even pointing it, just simply lighting the ground where you're on, can right away. I watched a car swerve when I saw them, didn't really notice that I was there. Now I have lights on my bike. I have, for reflective stuff, but people still can't see those little things. They need those, and when you showed me, I mean, the flash, I've got such a small flashlight, it barely fits in my hand, just a little bit bigger than my hand, and it can produce 800 looms of light. Like that's a ridiculous amount of light. It can take an entire street and light it up. And so it's not a big thing, right? So it was you that showed me a lot of that. I knew that they were quite practical, but when I came to see you in BC, when I was traveled out there, and you're living in a more rural area and you need a flashlight, but then I brought it home with me and I realized that you need it just as much in a city. There is lights, but not everywhere. It's just the main roads. It's smaller little areas where there's still a lot of dark, and it's great to be able to have that.
And in an elevator, it might be bright and everything, but this is a solid piece of metal that's already in your hand, and that can do a lot of damage. You don't even have to turn it on, right? No. Of course, it requires a bit more skill. It requires a bit of better usage. It's not its primary use. But again, it's just a simple tool, and it's a flashlight. It's not, it's not like a brass knuckle. It's not, it's nothing like that that's going to stand out in court, right? Yeah. Somebody pushes you, somebody pins you in the elevator, you reach in your pocket, and you can make use of this. I think that anybody will look at it and say, okay, it's reasonable. You didn't bring it with you that morning with the intent of hurting somebody. It's just a good round tool, right? So, 100%. And in your car, it's everywhere. It's everywhere for me.
But it's convenient.
I feel naked without it, right?
Yeah, convenience the big thing though. Like when I have it. Like you have to put it like where you put your keys, like it has to be, or your wallet, like you have to make sure it's convenient. If it's in your car, it has to be somewhere easily accessible, right? I got one on my backpack and it's just right here.
Yeah.
It's not here because I find it awkward. I got it here and I could just get to it right away and put it back. Yeah. So, I know you touched upon that in the content, but practicing with it as making it part of your daily thing is so important. It just always have it. Yeah, reach for it. Just think of why, where your wallet is, or where anything that you keep that you're going to need. Like, where do you put your keys? Where do you put your wallet? Where do you put your flashlight? It's one of those things, right? These should be common sense stuff, but I think we've kind of forgotten that. We're relying on the lighting, lights in different ways, and it's like, no, it's not enough. So I thank you for bringing that, because I thought you need it mostly just in the rural areas, but for people in the city, especially in a city where everybody's so distracted, a flashlight really brings a lot of attention, and it brings a lot of awareness. And I think it's I'm hoping everybody watches the video and says, let me just carry one and see how this works for me. And I think you'll be surprised how practical it is.
Yeah, it's interesting. I outfitted, I think somebody got a nice flashlight for my daughter when she was, I'd like to say like 14, 15, right? and it was a huge relief for me. It was like, okay, you know, I mean, it made a difference that it was somebody else who got my daughter. If I could have gone myself, of course, it would have ended up in the drawer somewhere, etc. But you know, that becomes the issue. Is you and I see the value of it because we recognize, we understand how threat occurs. We understand how to mitigate risk. Unfortunately, you know, my daughter is still to this time like, you got your flashlight. She's like, oh, it's out of batteries. I'm like, how, like, and as much as I'd say, like, you know what, like, this is for teenagers, it's a fantastic tool to have, right? It's bright, it's efficient, it's easy to carry, but it does recognize, and it does require a certain level of discipline. You need to have it on you. You need to know which pocket it is. You can't forget it here. You can't, you can't just be careless with it, right? You gotta have it on you. And the time you need it isn't the time to be, oh, which pocket, which drawer.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the issue, right? So you know, like kids, families, your partner, your like, everybody can benefit from one of these flashlights. And it's such a simple tool to have, and it's useful, and it's got its things. And like I say, you know, you get a good one, it lasts you for years.
Oh yeah, of course. They're well worth the money.
Et cetera, right? But yeah.
Even a high-end flashlight is, compared to any other thing I've ever bought, is very inexpensive. You can't even compare. Totally. And it's the most
like I say, under $100, you got an awesome flashlight, and they're, you know, they're rugged, they're water resistant, shockproof, etc.
For sure. It's funny. When I spent quite a bit of time outdoors, and if I get into like bear country, you hear a lot of the hikers, they carry like the bear mace and stuff. You know how many people have died of a bear because they couldn't get to it because they never trained to pull it out. It's got to be accessible. They bury their bear mace in their backpack. It's like when the bear is charging, it's too late. It's got to be like really handy. Like it's not going to happen when you want it.
There is, you see more and more people having this tactical lights, or it doesn't just a flashlight with like the strobe element. There was actually a nice self-defense footage of this guy in a hotel lobby, who was hammered, and he kept going around the counter and harassing, and got in a scuffle with the guy there. And some guy with his girlfriend just comes in, and the guy is drunk enough that when the guy shines the strobe on him, it actually pushes him away. It physically, the guy's just like, he couldn't tolerate that. And when you look at the instances of, you know, just whether it's alcohol or drugs, people are high, the effects of a strobe light on somebody who's tripping, who's high, isn't that much higher, right?
Forget about just do it to your friends. Watch what happens.
Right. That's right.
They're not happy.
So that's another element in terms of personal protection, is your chances of, you know, when you need it, you're going to need it against somebody who is not in their regular state of mind. They're either drunk, intoxicated, they got something going on, and the effects of the strobe is that much greater on them. And you know, if we refer people back to our self-protection video, it's about gaining time, right? It's about gaining time here. You get that 6 seconds of disorientation that allows you to get out of there, right?
100%.
And I can't say, like, from a distance of, you know, 6, 8, 10, 12 feet, 15 feet, 20 feet as it gets darker, this thing will get you your 5 seconds, and you can just easily get out of there, right? Especially with somebody who's highly intoxicated. So again, you know, there's so many environments, so many conditions that I just can't go on enough about having just a simple flashlight and how much of a game changer it is.
No, huge. I use it for so many things, Vali, and I hope anybody watching this will follow the same advice. Any fleeting thoughts? So we're gonna obviously work on a more professional version of this, which is really where, you know, this is quite different. So there'll be a professional tactical flashlight video. This is a lot more for kind of everybody. Not everybody needs the professional version of it, right? It's a little different.
No, because it involves a lot of team elements, a lot of just the different aspects to it, right? But
100%.
As a civilian single-person flashlight, this course will give you everything you need. It's simple. Like, the bulk of it is good flashlight selection, and then knowing how to train and get accustomed to it, and become flashlight conscious, flashlight aware.
Flashlight conscious. That's great.
Yeah.
And thank you so much. I think we covered it all. And yeah, like I said, thank you for just the ability to get some of this out to everybody. I know I brought it up to you. I really think that the professional versions of things are not for everybody, but I think everybody can benefit from this. You know, it's like, I think everybody can benefit from walking a day in the life of somebody, you know, and everybody can benefit from these high level things rather than the low level things. So I'm really glad you shared that with people, because that's really where it's come from. You're sharing something professional that I think everybody can benefit from. And you know, so thank you for that. And I know a lot of people are going to benefit from it. So that's awesome.
Good times. Awesome.
Thank you,
well,
man.
Thanks, Manny. Always a pleasure. And then
Pleasure
we'll catch you on the flip side whenever we get onto the professional version. And
yes, we will. Yeah, we'll definitely start it sooner than later for sure.
Awesome.
Take care, Vali.
Good times. Good seeing you
Bye-bye.
as always. All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.